Welcome back as we continue our mid-season prospect rankings for the 2023 NFL Draft. And now we're getting to the more fun positions. Actually, this is my favorite position to evaluate, and it's corner. And oh boy, this class ain't half bad. It really ain't. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Baroshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below real quick. Just so you know, no Eli Ricks on this list. He just got his first start for Alabama this past weekend, and I kind of want to wait and see how he does for the rest of the year. But hey, if you want to see me talk about Eli Ricks, go check out yesterday's stock report. I really get into him. But let's go ahead and start with number 10, DEVON Witherspoon out of Illinois, having a banger year, 11 pass breakups. Just bonkers. I think he allows the lowest completion percentage on this list at 31%. But this guy was an unranked recruit from the 2019 class. He was a 3-sport athlete in high school and was going to go to the junior college route. However, he decided to walk on at Illinois days before the training camp, and guess what? He made the team. As a freshman, he played in all 13 games as a reserve, but he did make 3 starts during that period, and he led the team in special teams, tackles, and kickoff tackles, special team and kickoff tackles. I don't know why that was such a tough thing to say, but I don't know. I'm not the best with words. Regardless, this cat in the shortened 2020 season of the Big Ten, he started 7 games and he was tied for the team lead in interceptions despite missing the opener with an undisclosed injury. In 2021, he missed 2 games with injury but started 10, and this cat's just been really good. Like, coming as a walk-on and really just grind into this start-in position. And let's be fair, Illinois has been pumping out pretty solid draft prospects on the defensive end, and Witherspoon is just another case of that. Like, this cat has ideal length and speed for the position. He's sticky in man coverage, has some greasy hips, but we'll get to some of the things he needs to work on because he doesn't quite utilize that fluidness, and it's kind of a technical thing, really. But in off coverage, he comes downhill real fast with a head of steam. Very solid tackler and run defender. He takes good angles and he works well in traffic. A lot of that comes from that special team experience he's had over the course of his career. Teams are going to love that. Oh, what? You could play special teams? Psh, heck yeah. I mean, day 3 is basically filled. You're basically just looking for, maybe guys that can work on the future on the offense or defensive end, but really you're kind of looking for these guys to fill out your special teams. But him bringing that is just like icing on the cake. He does a great job of challenging the catch point and getting his hands on the football. He plays through the whistle, shows no quit. Love this cat. Now, obviously could put a little bit more mass on the body at 183, 6 foot, but it's not... it ain't that big. It really ain't that big. Like, he does play with physicality. You kind of wonder, will he be able to hold up? He's a little bit thin. But at the end of the day, I don't really care how my quarterbacks run defend because coverage is kind of the more important thing. But knowing that this guy did it well in college, I'm not going to be too hesitant when it comes to, I don't know if he's big or strong enough to do this in the NFL. You know what? He did it in college. And I'm getting this guy for coverage anyway. So get out of here. On top of that, there are questions about his actual ball skills in terms of turning those incompletions or those pass breakups into actual interceptions, which of course there can be a case to be made there. There were a few instances of that in 2021 where he could have turned pass breakups into interceptions. Now, like I said, this guy, he's got greasy hips. He can flip fast. Problem is, his back pedal is a bit high, man. And he always, when he does flip, again, very fluently, it's not always on balance. It takes him a minute to get position to go. So really working on that technique, lowering the back pedal, will help those transitions be less clunky. So, again, this dude's having a fabulous season. He's had a fabulous career for Illinois. We know Illinois on the defensive end typically produces pretty good talent. I mean, there was a ton in 2022 that I just loved. So, good on y'all. On to number 9 on the list is Emmanuel Forbes, a steady riser for me, a guy I've really liked past couple of years. And now he just became draft eligible this season. Him and Martin Emerson were just a fantastic cornerback duo. But Forbes, former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class, played basketball in high school, but immediately as a freshman, man, played in 11 games with 9 starts. Made the All-SEC freshman team 2021. He broke Mississippi State's single-season record for interception returns. And at that point, he was also tied for the career record because guess what? This season, he's got 2 more pick sixes. This dude has 5 pick sixes, there we go, over the course of his career. That's just nuts. That's bonkers. Dude's playing out his mind. He's long, plays with great length. Giggle. He plays the ball exceptionally well in the air as he's got, at this point feels like 13 career interceptions, 14 pass breakups. He's just dangerous. Anytime this guy could put a hand on the ball, dangerous. Because you got that looming pick 6. Oh, does a good job of mirroring receivers downfield, explodes downhill. He does a good job of navigating through traffic and led cornerbacks and defensive stops in 2021. However, the tackling, this is something we'll get to. The missed tackles, they're kind of like, he could be a better finisher, but with how active he is in the run game, I feel like that's to be expected. His length helps him. I would say his length really helps him from not getting blocked, essentially, like just keeping clean and being able to play the run. I love this dude's eyes. Like he trusts his eyes and he shows good anticipation on routes. We know coming from Zach Arnett's defense there, he is very not even necessarily efficient, but what do they call it? Like prolific? I don't think that's the word. He knows he is very familiar with any and all zone coverage under the sun. I think that's probably the best way to put it. There are times where he is a tad slow to react when a receiver makes a break. Sometimes it results in busted coverage. For the most part, kind of few and far between, but is something to point out there. Also, one of the best run defenders at his position, but I did bring up the missed tackling. It was 18% in 2021. Fun fact, it's a little worse this year as well. So it's like, it could be a better tackler, but is what it is. And you know what? With how good his ball skills are, you kind of can live with the busted coverages. But this is a cat that I think is going to continue to rise up on my list. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready to put this cat in the top 50, but it's just like there's a lot of corners I love in this class, and let's keep talking about them. As next on the list is KRIS ABRAMS-DRAINE out of Mizzou. This dude, former 3-star recruit in the 2020 class. If you didn't know, used to be a former wide receiver. Actually played 5 games as a receiver his freshman season. Then he converted to corner and started 10 of 13 games for the Tigers. Back in high school, he was a do-it-all player, so it makes a ton of sense. But this cat's been really good for Missouri this season. As you can see, 5 pass breakups. He's just such a natural mover. His feet can be seen in a variety of different ways in terms of the explosiveness out of his back pedal, movement skills, change of direction, closing speed. Like this guy moves his feet like ta-da, ta-da-da-da-da. It looks like he's dancing like Thumper there from Bambi. I know that's an old school reference, but it is what it is. I would love to see a live action Bambi. We had Lion King. It was aight. Let's do Bambi. I don't know why I'm saying this. Regardless, KRIS ABRAMS-DRAINE. He already has a great feel for the position. Like, dude reads and reacts well. And fun fact, it's like, oh man, seems like he already knows what receivers are doing. He used to be a former receiver. Of course, this guy's going to be familiar with route tendencies and what receivers may or may not do being a former receiver. And guess what? Ball skills, Dude's not bad at the catch point. This guy has ball skills because he was a former receiver. Then again, some receivers become corners because of the lack of ball skills. But he has shown ball skills at the corner position. He's got good length. He has great return ability as well. Biggest problem is going to be this guy's size. 5'11", 177. Back in 2021, 78% of the snaps came out in the slot. But hey, this dude's playing really good on the outside this year. He really is. Now, with that lean build, he could definitely put on a bit more mass. There are times he could get baited by quarterbacks and bite on double moves from receivers. But for the most part, those, again, are few and far between. There are times he can be overly aggressive in coverage. But I think as he gets a better feel for the position, and I feel like we've seen this year with just the seamless transition to the outside, that honestly, man, like, you look at size and you don't sweat it too much. You really don't. Even if this is a guy that ends up just being a slot corner in the NFL, that's huge because that's starting position in the NFL, and it's a tough position to play. But yeah, big fan. Another guy was like, man, I would love this cat in the top 50. Like, this is a really good cornerback class. I'm just going to keep saying it the whole video. Next on the list, I got Garrett Williams out of Syracuse. And for the most part, all intents and purposes, feels like a bit of a faller, a guy that might slowly fall down the list just because the production hasn't been all great. He's a bit hit or miss sometimes. I mean, I feel like that's a Syracuse defensive back thing, you know, where it's just like blown coverage or getting mossed. We saw him against Charlie Jones this past season, and it's not like Charlie Jones is a blazer. It's not like he's got this great long field speed. And Garrett Williams, it was really just one misstep and he got toasted. But this dude is a great athlete, and I think that's why teams are going to take a shot on him. Still list him at top 50, man, but I'm telling you, man, he's on the verge of being outside of that. Just because, again, there's a lot of corners I really love in this class. Anywho, former 3-star recruit, 2019 class, ran track in high school, redshirted his freshman year, but then instantly became the starter in 2020, has been the starter ever since. 2021 was a bit because he dealt with a hamstring injury, but tried playing through it. And this year doesn't have much of an excuse, I'll just say that. But this dude has some nice movement skills. He's shown his ability as a ball hawk, as he has 3 interceptions, 15 pass breakups through his career. He has good closing speed, breaks on the ball very well. He's very active versus the run. He's willing to throw his body all around, throwing caution to the wind. And he will either dive and drag or go for the hit stick. However, the missed tackle rate ain't all that bad. It was 12.7 last year, and out of curiosity, I think I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure it's a bit higher this year, which again, that kind of comes with the nature of being having that hit stick mentality, especially coming downhill. Like no, it's actually relatively good. It's 14.3. Must have been thinking about someone else. You know, look at so many guys, numbers just start to mix and blend together. What can I say? But yeah, you like to see that. He's a very good run defender. So, and I know NFL, they love that. They love corners that can defend the run. Anywho, plays in a lot of off coverage and doesn't exactly get to show what he can do in press, because ideally he's probably going to be more of a press guy because he has the length and the build to be capable of being a phenomenal press corner. There just aren't many examples of that on tape. He could be a bit more physical and competitive at the catch point. A lot of times he sits and waits for the ball rather than attacking it, so that's something he could definitely get better at. That we saw that in the Purdue game. I think we saw that in the Louisville game as well. No, the Louisville game from 2021. That it ain't go down like that in the opener. I'll just say that. He also doesn't get good leverage downfield and allows himself to be stacked by receivers. He tends to get lost in traffic on his way to the ball carrier. And again, there's a few games you could point to this season. You could go back to 2021 versus Liberty. You could go to the Purdue game this season and be like, okay, I could see a big emphasis on the things he needs to get better in this to kind of like really be a top 50 prospect. But but the talent is there, man. See Gojo out there howling. He loves corners. He really does. On to number 6 on the list. Is this number 6? I don't know. Yeah, it's number 6. Got JAYLON Jones. This is actually, if you're familiar with Hail Mary Sports, Alex from Hail Mary Sports, he's a huge fan of JAYLON Jones. I think he has him as like a top 20 prospect. I'm not there yet on him, but this guy's been putting up really good football, just great size, do good football player. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class, started all 10 games on the outside in his freshman season for an SEC school, not just an SEC school, but Texas A&M, who honestly should be better than what they are year after year, but a team that recruits exceptionally well. They bring in a lot of talent, a lot of competition. This man managed to start as a freshman, just wild. Has wonderful size, great length. He isn't slow and plodding for a bigger corner though. He uses his length exceptionally well to stick with faster receivers and off coverage. He shows really good short area quicks and downhill explosiveness. He's constantly challenging the catch point and shows solid ball skills as over the course of his career. He has 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups. And to be fair, this year he was slowed by an injury at the beginning of the year, so didn't really get to start till the Miami game. But regardless, sure tackler, 10% missed tackle rate. Love to see it. That was back in 2021. Let's see what it is currently. It is 12%. Like I said, sure. All right, let me pull back up the notes skis. All right, here we go. Anywho, this dude, like with his body type, there's a variety of different roles he could play on the defensive end. We've seen, guys like Antonio Johnson there for Texas A&M, who's like, oh, this is a guy you can really plant anywhere, whether it's slot, safety, outside corner. JAYLON Jones, while he hasn't done any of that, like he has a similar body type, so you love to see it. He is a big body corner, and he does sometimes move like one. His speed and explosiveness out his back pedal is really just above average for the position, and he does his best work by keeping the play in front of him. Doesn't always stonewall receivers at the line when in press, and there are times he is physical for just way too long. He just too handsy. Be a little more discreet with how you use your hands. He was flagged 4 times in 2021. Hasn't really been the problem this year, to be fair. He's only played a handful of games. He could also be a step late to react in coverage, but that really only happens during like the later parts of like the quarterback's like progression. If the play has to be extended, that's when you typically see it. If we're talking about he's facing like a rhythm passer, a guy that's like this 3 to 5 step drop back, get the ball out quick, the dude he loves that. He bounces on that. But if the play gets extended, there are times where he's so busy trying to stick with the receiver, he doesn't really react to what's if the ball's being thrown his way. He's stuck playing the receiver, which isn't always a bad thing. But again, we're nitpicking at this point because we're talking about the best of the best. So it is what it is. But I can see why a lot of people really do like him. I know Alex, again, loves him. I think Mike Renner has him as a top 20 guy currently too. I'm not quite there yet, but again, the dude is playing good football. Number 5, I got Clark Phillips the third out of Utah. He is a former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. Started as a freshman in the shortened Pac-12 season, and he has remained the starter since. And this dude is a competitor. You look at the size, it's like, it's not all that great, but it's not terrible. But dude's a competitor. Despite his size, he doesn't let himself get bullied by bigger receivers on the outside. His game versus Drake London, man, was just blast. Fun fact, this dude also a phenomenal with the ball skills. 5 interceptions this year. He took 2 for pick sixes. So it's like you love to see that big play ability. This dude is great at jumping routes underneath, and which might kind of beg the question, maybe is he more so a slot guy? But he's doing it on the outside. He's having a very, very good year. He shows great anticipation, very quick feet, reads and reacts exceptionally quickly. The dude's just been good. Now, Phillips, he does mainly playing off coverage with that lack of size, and this is a guy you're not going to bring in if you run a lot of press. That's just a fact. Just throwing it out there. When lined up in the slot, he did struggle to bring down running backs off swing passes, and missed tackles are kind of a thing. I think he hovers around like the 25 to 30% missed tackle rate this season. But I mean, as a tackler, like his go-to move is, I'm gonna throw myself at you like a missile, and I'm only aiming for the knee or below, which isn't always gonna be a high success rate when it comes to making tackles. You know, it's like, just wrap him up. But I could see with that lack of size why. So maybe a guy you want on the outside and off coverage. It's probably ideal. But you love this dude's anticipation. You love his nose for the big play. Big fan of Clark Phillips. All right, next on the list here, we got Cam Smith out of South Carolina. Had to miss a few games this season because of a concussion. Or I think it was just the Georgia game. But he's played a solid year, man. They refuse to throw his way, and when they throw his way, you're not seeing a lot of receptions. Look at that, 37.5% completion rate allowed on the year. There are a few injuries here. Well, I guess really just the one. You have the concussion, but I mean, that happens. It's football. But he did miss playing time back in 2020 because of a leg injury. So I guess to note that. It's not like it slowed him down or anything. He's played a lot of football for the most part over his career. But this guy is always around the catch point. 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups prior to this year. Coming into, and then in this season, they're throwing at him far less, but still has managed an interception and 3 pass breakups. I mean, you could also tell with that low tackle rate because they just don't like to throw his way. They just don't. Like, if you're going to try to catch the ball on him, then you are going to have to earn it. This guy fights you throughout the entirety of the catch. Like, if you catch the ball on him, then watch out. He's going to be jarring at that ball all the way until you get down on the ground. And even better, dude, this guy is an enforcer. Like, again, if he's not scrapping at the ball, then he's gonna make sure you hit the ground real hard and that ball maybe comes out. Like, this is a guy that you're gonna really have to think about, not even think about, but like a guy that does like to employ the peanut hammer. If you don't know Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, very popular for knowing how to put the fist down wherever the ball carrier has the ball and trying to jar that sucker loose. Cam Smith, not only is he a fan, he is also a user of the peanut hammer. So, gotta love it. He shows good movement skills and very capable of following receivers across the field. He recognizes, reads, reacts exceptionally quickly, comes downhill, always with bad intentions. Might be one of the most sure tacklers in this class. But, or at least might not be the most sure tackler in this class, but he's definitely the hardest hitter. This guy, his mentality, this is why NFL teams are going to love this cat. They're going to love this cat's mentality, his relentlessness, and his physicality. Now, he can be a bit over physical during the route, and especially at the catch point. Love the mentality, but you do want to see a bit more, at least during the route, a bit more discretion. Could end up being heavily flagged early in his career. Typically, those type of corners do get flagged early. So, something to watch out for. But yeah, this dude's absolutely a first rounder. Next on the list, I got Joey Porter out of Penn State. We know why all these why everyone loves this cat, right? Like, ideal length, great size for a press corner in today's NFL. Very good athlete. You want to know why I love him? Because this cat is a great human being. He volunteers helping the homeless and partakes in special needs activities. Like this cat wants to take over his mother's business, which is the Jasmine Nairi daycare or day center. So like this is a guy with a big heart, man. You love to see it. Also, he's got NFL pedigree in him. If you didn't know, just dropped the junior. You got Joey Porter. I would say Dolphins great, but he was a lot better for the Steelers than he was for the Dolphins. But if not, like he's got to be. He's a Hall of Famer by now, right? Yeah, Joey Porter's a Hall of Famer. I don't know what I'm saying. So he's got a Hall of Fame daddy. So you love the pedigree. You love the human being. You love the length. You love the athleticism. You love how he impacts the catch point. 9 pass breakups. Gotta love it. He's been a lot more discreet with the hands. One of my biggest qualms coming into the season was like, oh man, this guy this guy gets flagged a ton. Much better this season. Much better. I love to see him work on that. And on top of that, there are like a couple of like nitpicks because he plays a lot of off coverage, sometimes with Penn State, and gives a lot of cushion underneath. So like you see him get caught on underneath quite a bit here and there. But when it comes to his back pedal, it could be a bit too high. It takes away from that downhill burst. But again, kind of nitpicking at this point. Something that I haven't seen this year was, and I pointed this out at my preseason rankings list, was like he was a guy that didn't really always find something to do when he's not when they don't throw to his side, or like even when like he has no one to cover. Like I go back to the Maryland 2021, they had trips left. Then you had a guy close up to the ball, and they call hike, and it's basically what they have is like these three guys left. They're running verts or vertical routes, and you have the guy lined up on the right, close to the line of scrimmage or close to the ball, just doing like a drag play, a shallow drag play. So it's like Joey Porter, looks like his focus would be on that play would be to watch for the running back and see if he pops out to the outside on a wheel or a swing route. And the run back did. The run back was there in pass protection. So he kind of just like, okay, well, I got nothing to do with this play. I'm just going to sit on the side rather than, no, run to where everyone else is. Go find something to do. Again, that's just literally one play that's like burned into my mind, into my retinas. But you don't see it a lot with him. Honestly, you don't see that. You like literally, it's one thing that just I just have to get over, and obviously I have. I got him as a top 20 prospect at this point. And really the only bigger thing was, hey, be more discreet with the hands. He's done that. I love it. So, yeah, welcome to the top 20, Mr. Joey Porter. And then Christian Gonzalez, the next cat on this list. Dude was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2020 class. Played wide receiver in high school. Also ran track where he ran a 21.6 200 meter in the Texas State Championship. If you didn't know, that do be fast. He made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list because of his build and his speed. Love to see it. This cat ended up going to Colorado, played 2 years there, and decided to transfer to Oregon. There we go. So also on top of that, he was following his former cornerbacks coach to Oregon there. So love to see it. Nice blend of size, length, athleticism, sinks low. In his back pedal, explodes downhill, shows short area quicks, toughness against the run. Dude's a finisher as well, around that 13% missed tackle rate. That's pretty darn good for a corner. I really like him in press coverage. If you're a team looking for a press corner, this is your guy. Like, he has the speed to hang on any type of vertical route. Really this year where he is getting beat is on these stupid little whip routes where he is playing maybe a bit off, and sometimes he ends up playing the guy in the running back too. So it's like those guys are going to have a little bit of space to work with if you're getting the ball to them quickly. So it's like I'm not at all too worried about that, because people will look at 51.1 or 57.1% completion rate and be like, oh, that's a little high for an elite corner. Typically you want to keep that under 60, and like the really good corners keep it under 50%. But also you want to look at that number and take it in context that this is a lot of dumping off like 3 to 4 yards down the field. So it's like not a real biggie. He also shows great closing speed. Many times he's in position to make a play on other teammates' assignments. Love to see it. The thing is, man, like he's thin. Not terribly thin though. Like you look at like 6'2", 200, it's like it's a good size. But then you watch him, it's like, and I think a lot of that is because he's a little lanky. So I'm not too worried about that. But in the run game, he can be effectively just moved by receivers as blockers. And you kind of saw that a bit in the Georgia game. Probably Georgia's easily his worst game of the season. There are also times he's caught slowing down towards a ball carrier if he thinks he's out of the play, which didn't like to see that. I like to see him put himself in better positions to make a play on the ball. Ball skills is something that's going to get brought up. At least turn in those forcing completions into picks. Like you could look at the UCLA game this past weekend where legit he's going back, jumping up for a ball and just drops it. It's like, oh man, that should have been a pick. Still good play on the ball though. So I do love to see that, but love this dude as a prospect. Him and Joey Porter very close to one another. I don't know personally if they're close, but in terms of them on my rankings, exceptionally close to one another. And then number 1 is Kelee Ringo. There wasn't going to be anyone else here at the number 1 spot. Love this cat. Former 5-star recruit, 2020 class. Redshirted his freshman year because of a shoulder surgery. Ended up being the starter in 2021. And then, if you remember, he sealed the national championship game for Georgia with a pick 6 on Bryce Young. Then, obviously, at the start of this season. And this dude has great size and speed, dude. He's going to be a low 4.4, maybe even sub 4.4 guy. Even if he gets beat, he's shown closing speed to be able to keep himself in the play. You could go back and look at the SEC championship and national championship game against Alabama against Jameson Williams, as he showed quite a bit of that. He does a good job of playing both the quarterback and the receiver. If the ball is ever in air, then he knows and he's able to make a play on it. Like, this guy can make plays like a receiver. And to be fair, like, you look at his stats this year and be like, oh, no pass breakups, no interceptions. And to be fair, they're just not thrown his way. Like what, over the course of the last, I think it's like 7 or 8 games, he's only been thrown at about 24 times. So he's getting thrown at maybe 3 times a game, if that. So it's like, and it's like, the thing is, if you're facing Georgia, you're typically playing from behind. So these teams are should be throwing the ball a lot more. They just typically tend not to throw his way. So if you got questions about that, that's what I'm saying. So again, context is always key when you look into this stuff. But yeah, man, I love how he plays around the line of scrimmage. Never lets his hands be swiped away by receivers. Comes downhill with bad intentions. Loves trying to deliver a big hit. And the dude has some good speed, but there are times he can get got by the double move. He's more of a linear athlete rather than a lateral athlete. And of course, as a tackler, you'd love to see him be a better wrapper-upper. But regardless, again, nitpicking here, this guy's top 10 pick in my board, or in my book. This dude is the best corner, in my opinion, in this draft class. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. If you made it this far and you're going to be like, where's Eli Ricks? I talked about him in the beginning. Listen, I want to see more football played from him. He's only got his first start of the year against Mississippi State. Looked great. Let's see how he does the rest of the year. So if you missed that part of the beginning of the video, and I know we're probably going to see Eli Ricks in the comments regardless. And you know what I'm going to tell you? Watch the video. That's it. Golly, man. I'm not saying I get frustrated, but I kind of chuckle when I see someone comment and be like, well, what about this player? And it's like, I talked about that dude in the video. What do you mean, what about this player? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.